The Western Australian Government wants mining companies to help fund artificial reefs in an attempt to boost fish stocks. The booming population and fly-in, fly-out workers are being partly blamed for a reduction in fish species popular with anglers. So the government is building 2 prototype reefs to prove their ability to increase fish production. And if the results mirror those being achieved on a new abalone farm, artificial reefs could have a big future.
We're in Flinders Bay here. For the last 3 or 4 years we've been working really hard on developing ocean culture of abalone. We see a lot of potential in it. Most aquaculture of abalone is based on land in Australia. We've got high food costs, high energy costs. A lot of farms are pumping over 1,000 litres of water a second. And to us it just seemed a pretty unnatural environment. And coming from an abalone diver's background, having seen what the potential of Mother Nature is, we decided to, and a bunch of long-suffering investors have got behind me, and we've been building our own reefs.
After 12 years as a professional abalone diver, Brad Adams is now farming green-lipped abalone near Augusta in the southwest of Western Australia. He transfers hatchery-bred juveniles to a 40-hectare lease in a location pioneered as a wild catch fishery by his late father more than 40 years ago.
It's been the most productive area for our zone of all time. Some years we're catching over half our quota out of here every year, and our area goes from Busselton all the way to Hopetown. So for a small area like this, it's highly productive. And in aquaculture, it's all about real estate, and I reckon we've got the best real estate here, which is why I'm having good success with the reefs here, I think.
Brad Adams has been experimenting with different reef materials to grow out his abalone. He's a qualified marine biologist and has been putting that experience to good use on 2 additional research and development sites.
A number of designs that I've used was real backyard sort of stuff. I've got solid blocks, hollow blocks, round tubes, Besser blocks, and some work really well and some don't. So it's been a real learning experience as to what's suitable and what's not. It's a big experiment, so I'm trialling the size of abalone at release to work out what's the best size to put them in the water. So we're working at growth rates, we're working at mortality. I've got a number of different habitat designs I'm trialling, and as far as the different sites go, we're trying to find out what is the best place in this area to grow the abalone, and I'm finding some marked differences between the 3 leases as well. So it's giving us an idea of actually positioning our location when we scale this business up next year.
Brad Adams is upgrading his reef designs with the help of the South Korean company Haeju. It's a world leader in artificial reef development. Now, the West Australian Government is also sharing information with the Korean Fisheries Resources Agency to build 2 experimental reefs at Geograph Bay near Busselton.
Why artificial reefs? Because we want to increase the number of fish that are out there for fishers, and also want to provide recreational fishers with a safe environment. So artificial reefs can be deployed in areas relatively close to boat ramps, increase the productivity of the waters and ensure that fishers have a good experience when they go out fishing.
The Fisheries Department says WA's booming population is putting pressure on the state's fish stocks, and it believes artificial reefs can become an important management tool.
Growing population means there's more people out there fishing, but also the technology that they're using these days has moved on a long way from some years ago. With things like fish finders and GPS there now, it's much easier for recreational fishers to locate and catch fish, and so that puts pressure on stocks. And the more pressure that's on them, the more we have to look at what can we do to manage those stocks. And we don't want our management measures just to be about cutting, we want to be about what positive things can we do. And artificial reefs are a tool that we think have potential for use in Western Australia.
Fisheries WA has identified sites in Geograph Bay which meet Commonwealth Government restrictions to avoid any impact on sensitive coral or seagrass beds. The department will call for tenders for designs like these, which were developed by Heiju for the Queensland Government.
These are purpose-built structures. They're designed to be able to be modular, to be put into an area and designed for certain species. And if something does go away from the objectives, they can actually be removed and recovered and repositioned if need be. There's a whole lot of conditions that both state and federal government are putting on the design, and marine engineering is one of the aspects that they're looking at. It not only has to be stable, which is why we've done surveys on what it's actually sitting over and how deep the veneer of sand is, but it's also about the current and the depth that it's going in. And the designs that we're looking at from around the world, that's one of their primary criteria about stability. Around the world, it seems that a 40-year lifespan is the minimum that they'll get out of their structure. Once they're in the water, we'll actually do monitoring not only for the fish and the life that forms on them, but for structural integrity, and that's another condition put onto us by the Commonwealth.
The sinking of the anti-submarine warship HMAS Swan in Geograph Bay in 1998 is likely to provide a good guide to how the new artificial reefs will work. A special scientific reference group formed across a range of government agencies will use the Swan as a control for their new research.
The experiences from the Swan said that most of the effects of species coming to an area and establishing on the area occurred within about the first 18 months. There was a bit of a turnover, but that's what it took. So by the first 2 years, you get the diversity of species that you'd expect in the long term. But they've been finding changes as the fouling community or the benthic community starts forming over the structure that are ongoing now.
Other structures, such as the historic Bustleton Jetty, confirm what scientists call the concentration effect, which leads to a general increase in fish productivity.
And we think there's a combination of effects that will happen. You'll put something in the water and instantly things will be concentrated around it, and over the time it'll build up its own system and it will actually produce things.
WA's recreational fishing lobby group, Recfishwest, is contributing $500,000 to the project. Chief Executive Officer Andrew Rowland says once the technology is proven, it wants reefs built along the coast.
So Andrew, is that the typical sort of species you'd be after on the artificial reef?
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are called skipjack trevally, or skippy locally. Really good fun fish to catch, great for family fishing in small boats, and quite prolific in these areas. Low vulnerability, quite fast growing and short-lived, I guess. And I think while people are fishing for these fish, which are really good table fare, you know, they're giving the more vulnerable demersal species, such as our prize jewfish, a bit of relief. So get this guy back.
Recfishwest says some of the pressure on fish stocks can be directly attributed to the mining boom, with fly-in, fly-out workers having the time and money to go fishing. It wants mining companies to invest in future reef projects, something the WA government supports.
They're aware that their staff may in fact be putting some extra pressure on the fisheries. Same time, Chevron are doing some work on their undersea pipeline, which may in fact disrupt the fishing industry. So some of them are looking at, in a sense, compensating, if you like, for what they're doing by perhaps funding some artificial reefs that then might increase the number of fish available.
Is that something the government would encourage mining companies to do, or even go beyond encouragement?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure we would make them, but certainly in the short term encourage them. But we do need to find out when we do the 2 prototypes down in Geograph Bay that we can actually demonstrate that they work, that they will actually increase the number of fish. I'm very concerned that if they don't increase the number of fish but simply attract fish and then people can catch them quicker, and that's against the interest of what we're seeking to achieve.
At Augusta, the Ocean Fresh Farm may have been developed for abalone, but it's increased production in a range of fish species, including the state's highly sought-after jewfish. The discovery of these juveniles was a first, and researchers now hope it'll help them predict future jewfish stocks.
We're actually using what he found to establish juvenile monitoring stations. The history of jewfish research has been that there's only been one larval jewfish found, and the juveniles are quite cryptic and unknown about what they do and where they go. The first signal we see of jewfish recruiting to the fishery is when they're about 3 to 4 years of age and they start turning up on people's lines. Now, the first 4 years, it's a mystery.
For Brad Adams, though, the future is looking good. He hopes to expand his farm to 120 hectares, producing up to 100 tonnes of abalone a year, marketed as premium wild catch.
I think whatever we can sell will be going straight into China, hopefully in the live market. The good advantage of what we're doing with aquaculture, or it's actually sea ranching, because the aquaculture sort of finishes as soon as I put them in the water. I let nature take care of these animals 100%. The world market for abalone, there's about 50,000 tonnes produced every year. About 45,000 tonnes of that is aquaculture product, and that comes in at a lower price point, which is they're a smaller ab. They're grown on artificial food sometimes seaweeds. And so that remaining sort of 10% of the product is wild caught. Most of that coming from Australia. Tasmania has half of that even. So there's a real demand for the premium wild caught product. It's a lot larger, it's got a lot better texture, it's got a lot better taste, so it certainly brings a premium in the market, and that premium is what we'll be targeting.